All right, welcome to the week 4 forum. We're covering the supplement in the back of the chapter or the back of the text. So we are not going in sequence this week. So please be aware we are going to this supplement on state and local government, which was written by my colleagues, Dr. Steve Housel and Carolyn Taylor. Um, I actually just contributed to an extensive rewrite of this supplement, but we're still dealing with sort of the second edition of it. I think this is very important, right? Because a lot of the governing that happens at the state level. And so what are some of the, again, and this is a lot of material to cover. Don't feel like you have to memorize all this, however many pages this is. But do feel like you have to get the kind of broad architecture. What are state and local governments, right? And why do we have them? It's important to keep in mind. States predated the Constitution. The framers really didn't have a choice. They could have tried to get rid of the states, but they almost certainly would have failed, and they understood that, right? So local governments, in contrast, are entirely unmentioned in the Constitution. They are, in American legal parlance, they are creatures of the states. They are considered to be mere extensions of state powers, and as such, they are entirely dependent on state governments. And so that raises, we talk about mandates, unfunded mandates in Chapter 3 on federalism. Well, there are also mandates that the state governments impose on local governments, and they also frequently preempt local governments. For example, in Stillwater, Oklahoma, back in the mid 2000, like 2014, 15, the city wanted to issue a ban on fracking. The state government basically said, no, we're not going to allow you to do that. And there were a lot of governments at the local level that already had fracking bans that were basically overridden. The reason being, and there's a good reason, you can make this argument that the state wanted there to be a uniform basis for determining where fracking could and could not happen. Now, it also just so happened to be exactly the attitude that the oil and gas industry wanted, because they want maximum access to be able to frack, where the oil is, even if that happens to be in an established neighborhood. And so, state and local governments, why do we have them? They're there because we are a federal system of government, and we do want to have we want to distribute power in a way that it requires consensus in order to achieve anything. And we want to govern collaboratively rather than impositionally, right? Rather than forcing things. I teach a class on federalism, and we talk a lot about this idea of cram down federalism, where the federal government imposes mandates on the states and the states impose mandates on the local government. That's not collaboration, that is imposition. And that creates a great sense of grievance in American politics that we really should be hoping to try and tamp down and control as much as possible, and minimize as much as possible. When you look at state governments and to some extent local governments, you have to look at this idea of capacity, right? California is huge and has a huge economy. Its economy, if you just took California and set it aside, its GDP would be the 5th or 6th largest GDP in the world. They're larger than Italy and India's economies. At the same time, it's so big, it presents really serious challenges for governance. Wyoming, in contrast, has fewer than 500,000 people over a very large area, and it's governed in a way where people are basically saying, we don't want the state to do anything. We want people to do things. The one state legislator in an article I read recently said, we believe that the people know how to spend their money better than the government. Well, the problem is, and I actually posted this on a forum the other day, the people can't build roads, and they can't build hospitals, and they can't protect one of themselves necessarily as well, especially not as a community, as the state can. We need to pay taxes in order to have roads and hospitals and police and firefighters and clean water, and parks and things that make living worthwhile. As Oliver Wendell Holmes, a Supreme Court justice from the early 20th century, observed, taxes are the price we pay for civilization. And with civilization and many other kinds of things, any other valuable commodities, you get what you pay for. Okay. So I hope again, don't try to memorize the chapter. It's a lot of material. I know that. I'm shooting for the really important stuff, right? So again, if you have any questions, the forum is absolutely the best place to bring those questions.